So with Natlan finally on the horizon, I wanted to challenge myself, make the appearance of a new region feel a bit different from usual. So that's why I am doing the Natlan only challenge. Now when I say Natlan only challenge, I mean everything. Characters with the exception of Traveler. However, I am allowed to use other characters for puzzles if I basically just walled and I have to. Weapons and artifacts must also come from Natlan. Basically, everything that I use, all my equipment, all my characters, everything must come from Natlan. Now, some of you may be asking, why are you starting this before Natlan actually comes out? Well, this first episode is to have one goal. Get to the liyue, finish the liyue archon quest as fast as possible. Because, if I finish the liyue archon quest, once Natlan is actually out, I can skip straight to Natlan, and I don't have to wait and grind through all the stuff to get to Natlan. I can just go straight to it and get Kachina, and so I can actually have another character besides just Traveler. And the second goal, which is kind of like a side thing, is just get as many funds as possible to hopefully get Milani, and hopefully I don't lose my 50-50, because if I lose my 50-50, I'm gonna lose my mind. But you know, enough prefacing about the challenge, let's actually get into the challenge. And I am immediately reminded of one of the most annoying things about making a new account in Genshin, which is that there is no skip button for the story. Now, normally I wouldn't really care about this because, you know, I like playing through the story. But, you know, when you've already seen the story, you don't need to play through it again. You already know what's going to happen. So if you want to just get through the story quickly, you can just have to mash left click, and it gets annoying very quickly. But, you know, getting off topic, I go through Act 1 fairly normally. Remember how annoying these enemies are when you don't have a bow user. And I make probably the worst and best decision of this challenge, which is that I decide that I should be mainly using Hydro Traveler for most of this challenge, since it is the most up-to-date one that we have at the moment. No, I can use the others if I feel like I need to, since technically, canonically, you have all four. It's a 4 or 5, I don't remember. All of the elements at you at the same time, but I'm going to mainly use Hydro until Pyro comes out. So I spent like an hour walking all the way from Monster to Fontaine, spent like 5 minutes trying to climb this one wall because I forgot that Fontaine is elevated, so you have to just climb up the wall. It was really annoying. And I finally get Hydro Traveler. Now, if you've ever used Hydro Traveler before, you know that they're pretty garbage. However, there is one benefit to this challenge which you might not think of, which is it actually gives me a ranged attack, which is actually more useful than you might think, like in Amber's domain here, where you could just shoot this enemy instead of having to use Amber's bow. Speaking of story, I'm going to skip over most of it, because a lot of it just kind of boils down to me just spamming left click to get through the story fast, and just suffering with Hydro Traveler, honestly. Anyway, I finally unlock daily commissions, which is massively helpful when you're trying to get to AR-23 as fast as possible. And here is where we run into the first real problem of the run. The shield Mitatrolls. Since I don't have a pyro character, I kind of just have to wait for them to attack so I can actually do damage. It would take forever to actually destroy their shields, which obviously, as you can imagine, gets very annoying very fast, because in the early game, there are so many of them. Oh my god. So after a while of doing ley lines and filling out the handbook, it was getting late, so I ended the play session for the day, and then went to bed and came back the next day with a fresh mindset. This day was mainly just me doing the story, so there isn't really too much to talk about, except me finding my absolute arch nemesis, the bane of my existence for this challenge, which is the Hydro Abyss Mages. They're already bad enough, normally, but when you don't have any elements that can break their shield, it is absolutely infuriating. Especially because they can just bubble you, and you have to just mash space. Oh my god. So I was there for like 3 minutes straight, just hitting the Abyss Mage with my sword until the shield finally broke and I could kill it. And unfortunately, for me, that isn't the last of them. Anyway, I finally get to the end of the Mondstadt Archon quest and fight Natlan. It's here where I realize just how shit Hydro Traveler's damage really is. Natlan is one of the easiest bosses in the game to one-shot, and I barely do half of his health. It was so depressing. So I finished the quest, but I need to get a higher AR level to start liyue, so I do some random farming and exploration, fighting another goddamn Hydro Abyss Mage, unlocking the Spiral Abyss, and, trying to clear it so I can do the handbook quest, and quickly realizing that I do not have the damage right now for it, so I decide to go and do it later. And it's really here where the Hydro Abyss Mage is really starting to tilt me, because I had to fight one in Deluxe Domain for doing his quest, and then 10 minutes later, at the end of the quest, you have to fight another one. I unlock Bernarius, who actually I thought was going to be harder than I thought he was going to be, but to be fair, it was the store version, and I was also using food as well. I start one of the bigger tricks of this challenge, since it would give me a lot of XP, which is getting all of the animalculus, with the help of the interactive map, of course, because I wasn't about to wander around the map looking for them. After a while, and I've been probably 2 hours, I finally get the statue up to level 10, and I can finally start working on liyue. But I was super burnt out after spending like 2 hours getting all of the animalculus, so I go to bed. Once again, something I haven't mentioned yet is that I started this challenge 5 days before Natlan comes out, like an idiot, so I was stressing to get to finish the liyue Archon quest as fast as possible. So, like an idiot, I forgot to press record and lost me getting the liyue statue to level 5. And that was really annoying. But besides me being stupid, I did liyue Act 1 and started the extremely painful, and when I mean painful, I mean really painful journey of getting all of the Giacolos. Because, let me put you this into perspective. Mondstadt only has 65 animalculus, whereas liyue has 131, which is almost double. Which, don't get me wrong, it's still less than Fontaine and Sumeru, but if we're comparing Mondstadt and the insane jump to liyue, it's insane. So you can imagine that this took me way too fucking long to complete. It took me multiple days of getting Giacolos, getting really bored, going to do something else, and then getting more Giacolos. So as you can imagine, I was kind of starting to lose it at this point, just from the sheer amount of Genshin I was playing. So I died for the first time from a story enemy of all things. But after way too long, I finally got the statue up to level 10. But even after all of that, I was still off from hitting AR 25. So I decided to do the 9 Pillars quest, since, I got the statue to level 10. It's here where I really started to hit a wall, I think, with Hydro Traveler, because I just could not kill this Ruin Hunter for the life of me. So, I tried to do some of the domains in liyue. I beat one of them, but then the other one I couldn't beat because I just couldn't kill the stuff fast enough, which was extremely tilting because I was so close to getting Air 28 and being done, but I was just getting walled by the game. So I took a break and came back for one final day to finally finish this episode. So I do my dailies, which is very helpful because dailies give you a lot of adventure rank XP. So it put me very close to 28. So I do some random side quests and some farming, and I finally hit AR 28, which means I can finish the liyue Archon quest. However, I still have 2 challenges ahead of me. The child fight and the Osile fight with the Fatui on the big platform. Or at least that's what I thought, because child was actually way easier than I thought he would be. He kind of just stood there and died. And the Osile fight was a lot easier because of the buffs they did give you, specifically the auto tech one that does the big blast and does like half the enemy's health. I'm pretty sure if I didn't have that, I probably would have just got walled and died here. So after that surprise, I finished the quest, which means that I am finally done, and once Natlan comes out, I can skip straight to Natlan. It was a wild and kind of infuriating ride, but I finally got there in the end. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in